And the purpose of this seminar is because we're here to help you. So if you have an idea and you want to cultivate it, if you have a contact, certainly within the community, that you feel you want to get access to share your idea and it's valid, we're here. We're part of that. We're a network. And we'll help you brainstorm your idea. We'll help you formulate it. We will push you hard. You know, you can't just kind of put your feet up on the chair and say, I want to make $1 million next week on a website. You have to have a lot more than that put together. But if you formulate it and if you've got something, we're here to help you. That's what we're doing. Tonight's conversation is on email marketing. And just before I get started, how many people in the audience have an online e-commerce store? It's like about 70%. How many of you have some type of an email program where you're sending out messages to some of your people? Okay, looks like about a third, if I took a rough guess, a third of the people who have a store. Okay, this is great. So it's going to be somewhat of an elementary conversation, and at the end, I'm more than happy to take it deeper based on questions and discussions. Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of email marketing, I'm going to talk about the numbers, because the beautiful thing about direct marketing and email as a direct marketing vehicle is that it's measurable. You can measure every action, and the actions are not just the sales, the actions are also the clicks, the open rates, the clicks, etc. And it's very, very important for you to understand and measure the actions on your website, because that's how you gauge success, that's how you gauge failures, that's how you gauge where do you invest more money, and that's how you gauge where to cut your losses. So that's the first thing we're going to discuss, which is basic calculations. The most important thing in running an e-commerce business, other than just sales, is to understand what your customer is worth. What is the customer lifetime value, or CLTV? Now, most major companies, there are complicated formulas for understanding what the CLTV, or the customer lifetime value, is. I'm going to take, I put up a very simple one here. At the end of the PowerPoint, which you'll have access to this entire PowerPoint on the Angel Fund website, there are links to more complicated formulas, so if you wanted to dig in and really understand it. But I want to keep it relatively elementary for the purpose of the conversation. So simple computation of customer lifetime value. Say your average customer buys for about 2 years. You see that you had X amount of customers, and over the course of time, the average customer seems to fall off after about 2 years. So your average customer buys for 2 years. And over those 2 years, they make an average of 10 purchases. And the value of each purchase is $2.50. So that's 10 times 250 equals a customer lifetime value of $25. So that means that a customer is worth $25 to you. $250 of profit, not $250 of sales. So if you're selling a $5 product, it's not a $50 customer lifetime value, it's a $5 product, if you've got a $2.50 of profit. So now you know that you certainly don't want to spend more than $25 to acquire a new customer, because you're only making $25 over the course of 2 years. And then you have to do the calculations to say how much of that $25 do I want to spend in order to acquire this customer. Once you understand what the value of a customer is, you can then translate that to the value of a member. Because you're going to have people who sign up on your site and don't make a purchase, and you want to understand what is it worth to attract those people. Am I making any money from them? How much money am I making from them? And what is it? So you will eventually evaluate with a little bit more sophisticated email program what percentage of the people that sign up on my site end up becoming buyers. So if I send out emails to 1,000 people, and ultimately after a series of time 100 of them become buyers, that means 10% of my members make a purchase, then my members are worth about 10% of what my customers are worth, or 25 cents. So if somebody came to you and said, I want to do a sweepstakes with you and I'm going to acquire members for 50 cents for you, you obviously realize that's an upside down equation. If they're going to acquire members for 25 cents for you, that's a break even. You're not in business to break even. So understanding the numbers is very, very crucial as you progress in your business to understand what is a member worth and what is a buyer worth over a lifetime. Once you understand this, so now the other important thing to understand is that a lot of these numbers vary based on industry. Every industry is different. Every customer is different. So we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty. And again, if you want more details, you can go into the links that are at the end of the page. Okay. So now, how do you build your list? Everybody who buys from you should automatically be added to your list. So on your website, you put a, and I'll get into some of the forms later, but on your website, once somebody makes a transaction, they should be added to your list. You're able to market to them. You're fully allowed to market to them. You've made a transaction with them, and you should add them to your email list. Members. Sign up for membership should be prominent. It should be big on your website. It should be aggressive. It should be as aggressive as possible, asking people to sign up as a member. There's a two-step, you should have a two-step process for membership sign-up. One is just capturing the email address, because you'll see many websites make the mistake of asking for a lot of details up front. First you want to capture the email address, then you want to ask them to go on and fill in the rest of their information. So you should ask for more information, but once you've caught their email address. But this way, if for any reason they decide not to give you the balance of the information, you've already got their email address and you can begin marketing to them. The others are a little bit more complex, but as you go into partnerships with other companies, a company may come to you and say, we want to run a joint sweepstakes, we want to give away your product, you're selling toothpaste, and we're selling toothbrushes, and we'd like to give away free toothpaste with sweepstakes for free toothpaste, and you say, great, and they're going to share back with you an email address for everybody who signs up to their sweepstakes on their site. Sounds great. You just want to make sure that if the value of a member is 25 cents, that you're getting at least, you're not spending more than 25 cents worth of toothpaste for every single member you get. So that, again, that's what understanding the numbers is. If you do a partnership deal, make sure that you're getting the data, you're getting the names of the people that are coming in from that partner, and that the cost of your being a partner of theirs is less than your cost of product. And more than, the cost is less than the value of a member. Again, that's where it comes back to understanding the CL, the customer lifetime value. Third-party list rental, a lot of people still talk about buying a list. There really is no legal way to buy a list. It's really list rental. It's again technical, but if somebody comes and says, I have 5 million names, chances are they're spam, they're going to get you in trouble, and it's really not advisable to turn around and buy those names because they could ultimately shut down your website. So that's something you have to be very careful about. List rental does exist though. There are third-party, there are reputable companies that will rent a list and run your offer, your ad to their list. And when those companies run your ad to their list, they'll either want a commission for it or they'll charge you a flat fee. Again, understanding what the value of what you're getting, what's the member worth, what's the buyer worth, is so important. Additional, there's a law about emailing. It's called CAN-SPAM. It was created, I believe, in 2003. And I've also, at the end of this presentation, I have a link to that. So if you want to understand the details of that law, it's really meant to protect consumers from getting too much junk email that they didn't sign up for. And it effectively does work. It could work better, but okay. So now let's get into some of the demonstrations. This is an example of an aggressive email capture. The site overall has a membership capture here, and it has a pop-up. Now this pop-up is cookied. Cookied means that it looks at the user, it browses the user's desktop, where they're coming from, and it identifies if the user is unique to the site. If the user has never been to the site before, it aggressively puts a pop-up in the middle of the site blocking, receive 10% off your first purchase. So it's a reason for somebody to sign up. So I've just found the site, I was searching, I found the site, boom. I'm aggressive to sign up. If not, I click no thank you and I go on to my shopping. Again, this will get into something I'm gonna speak about later, which is testing. It's very important to test. What happens if this box, the way you post it, is just too aggressive and it's stopping people from buying? So the way you test something like this is you run your site for X amount of time, you look at your traffic, you look how your traffic is converting, what percentage of the people that are coming to your site are actually buying, and then you determine what is this box now that I put it up affecting that? Is my conversion rate, am I getting a lower percentage of people buying? So if your conversion rate is 2%, 2 out of every 100 people buy, and you put this box up and only 1 out of every 100 people buy, that means that you've actually lost 1% conversion. If it gets you so many more members that it's worth losing that 1% because they ultimately come back and buy, that's a different story. But most of the time, an aggressive registration will not affect conversion rate because the consumer, if they're interested, will just click off of the box. So again, I can't stress enough how important it is to collect email addresses every way possible. The reason I say that is the only chance you have of remarketing to somebody who comes from another channel, affiliate, search, partnership, the only chance you have of remarketing is if you know how to reach them. If they don't give you your email address, you can't reach them. And you're just depending on spending those same affiliates, same search dollars again to bring them back in. Once you have them, you own them. This is a registration page. So, as I said, there's first step, capture only the email. The second step, capture all the information. All this information and major incentives for the consumer all over the page for why they should fill this out. Up on top, complete your registration, get a $100 gift card, a $100 gift. Over here, bonus personal 10% offer discount. Fill out this information, and the button doesn't say just enter. It's very aggressive. Yes, send me my personal 10% discount and enter for a $100 giveaway. What am I getting? Well, I'm signing up for email addresses, bonus email offers. I'm signing up to get exclusive deals and discounts from your website. So you have to let the consumer know this is what they're going to get, this is what they have this is what they're going to get, this is what they have a chance to get. There's a lot of opportunity and a lot of incentive for them to fill out this information. About 50% of the people that fill in their email, address here will complete this information. So imagine if you had 100 people come into your site and 20 of them filled out this information and only 10 of them filled out this information. If you only asked for this information, you'd get 10 people. If you asked for just the email address first, you'd have 20 people to remarket to. You're doubling your audience of people that you own that you have to remarket to. Okay, so now you've built a list. You've got a database, you've been in business, you've got a list. What should I do? How do I mail it? Should I just stick it all into my AOL or Microsoft account and just start mailing? Of course not. If you've got about 5,000 names or under, there's a service called Constant Contact. You go in, you put your credit card, you can use them, you can upload your names. They've got very, very basic templates that you can use to put your email and design emails within those templates. Really, it's simple drag and drop, and you can send out. If you've got more than 5,000 people in your list, then you have to decide whether you want a full service or a self-service email company. A full service email company will effectively do all of the work for you. They won't do the creative. Creative comes on your side, but they will load the creative into their system. They will build the HTML templates, they will add the links in, etc. They cost a little bit more, but if you don't have the staff or the know-how or the time to do it, they're a better option. The self-service option, where you've got to do all the mapping and the linking yourself, is obviously a lot cheaper, but requires labor. None of this requires an extensive amount of knowledge. You don't have to be a programmer or a coder to do any of this. Email marketing is relatively easy. It's something you can pick up from most of these companies' websites. It's about, I don't know, 2 or 3 pages to read to figure out how to set up your emails and create them. So, again, more than happy to help anybody and guide them if they have questions, who to use, etc. I have a list of companies that I've worked with in the past I can recommend, and you can do your own diligence there. Okay. Designing an email. So this is the real important part. How do we get the message across? First, you create a basic template. Your basic template encompasses the header, it encompasses the basic navigation. It really should look similar to what your site looks like. Have your brand on top, and of course I have a diagram. Have your brand on top and have the information. The second point, determine what you want to promote and the message is clear. Make sure you've got a very clear and definable message. 20 off, 30 off, buy one, get one, free shipping, whatever the message is. That's what you want to promote. Make sure it's clear. Make sure there's a call to action. Call to action is click here to buy, shop now, check out all sizes, etc. Very important. Make sure the design is consistent with your brand. You don't want to have a very schlocky look with a very, very high-end site. You don't want to have a very high-end look with a volume or a discount brand. Because if you have too high-end of a look and you're really pushing price and your game is 30, 40, 50 off retail or competitors' retail and you look too high-end, the consumers will think that you're high-end and not understand the message. So make sure whatever you do, your messaging is consistent with your brand. Cover the basics, navigation, unsubscribe link, your full address in the footer, company information, your disclaimers. People need to know where to find you. They may have signed up for you, they may have forgotten that they signed up for you, they may not remember how they got on your list. You don't want to look like you're some scammy spammer, so to speak. You want them to understand that you're a real company and you're not hiding from them. HTML pre-header, I'll show you what that means in a minute. And then different types of email messages. Welcome email. We just went through an initial page, a sign-up page. People sign up. They should immediately get a welcome email. Whichever email service provider you choose, whoever's delivering your email, will have a template for a welcome email. And it's very, very important. There's a lot of companies, I've gone out there and signed up, and 3 days later, I get a welcome email. Much, much too late. I'm on your site. I saw something that was interesting. Within seconds, I want to receive an email when I signed up to say, welcome, Allan. It's good to have you aboard. You're part of the crew. Here's a courtesy discount, whatever the message may be. But it's very, very important to have a welcome email, and that should go out immediately. Promotional email, we'll get into those in a minute. That's your basic email, which is, this week's promotion, free shipping. This week's promotion, 20% off. Newsletter, that's more content, more of a soft sell. Soft sell is, here is our latest photo contest and the winner of our contest. And by the way, they use this camera and this lens for the contest if you want to buy it. And this is what they said about the lighting of the picture and how they took the picture and about the camera. Very soft sell, but it's another chance to be in front of the customer. You don't want to always be hard selling the customer. You want to mix it up with messaging. Notification email, that's a final notice. So promotion is ending. It's a big promotion. You want to let the consumer know that the promotion is ending. So again, it's a promotional email with a little bit of a twist. Site abandoned and cart abandoned. These are a little bit more sophisticated, but they're very, very, very high converting emails. A very high percentage of these emails convert. That's when somebody signs up for your site, visits your site, puts a product in their cart, and then decides that phone rang, they had to run to lunch, something happened, and they don't make a purchase. They clicked off your site, went somewhere else. About 80% of shopping carts are abandoned. So that means that 100 people put something into a cart, only about 20 of them finish the transaction. Those 80, and by the way, that's a little bit high, I was being aggressive, I think it's really 88% of shopping carts are abandoned. But liken it to yourself walking into a retail store and putting something in your hand. Not something in the cash register, not dropping something off at the register. How many times have you walked into a retail store, picked up a t-shirt, picked up a pair of jeans, picked up a couple of other things, and then either put it down and walked out, especially if it's a mall store, you walk in the store, you pick it up, you think you see it, you like it, then you walk out. That's an abandoned shopping cart. And 80 to 88% are abandoned. What's better than sending that person a message seconds later saying, sorry we missed you, click here, come back. I don't recommend a deep discount. I don't recommend escalating a discount. It breeds mistrust. So think about it. If you went to a site and all of a sudden the item you put in your cart was now 20% off, you're wondering, should I abandon again and get 30 off and 40 off? So you want to make sure that you just put a reminder out there. Maybe your weekly promotion is free shipping. The shopping cart abandon should be consistent with it. Don't forget that we have free shipping this week. But it's a very, very valuable email. Okay, this is a very basic email, and I'm going to walk through the elements that we just described. As you can see on the top, the branding is consistent with their homepage. There's a link to their homepage, customer service, if you want to log in. So very basically, at the very, very, very top, you'll see where it says buy one, get one 20% off with a link. That's called an HTML pre-header. I would say about 50% of the companies out there don't do this. And it's a no-brainer, easy money. How many times do people have images turned off on a browser, images turned off on a mobile device? They don't see the image, they see either a broken image or they don't see anything. This is what will come up. That top line should have all your promotional information, buy one, get one 20% off, with the coupon code and some promotional text, over 75 new styles added, hurry shop now. So imagine if all images were off, that's the only thing that should show up. It's the first thing that reads in the browser, and also on a smartphone, on an Apple, it's what reads in that text box under the subject line. So if you've got an iPhone, you'll see that it says the subject line, and then there's text that comes in. That's the text that comes in. Many times I'll receive emails, and what text comes in? The unsubscribe link. So it'll have the name of the great deal today, unsubscribe, click here, in the pre-header text. So you want to drive what text you want. That's called the HTML pre-header, and it's just a no-brainer to put it in there. Basic navigation, shop by brand. So you can shop by brand. More navigation down here, shop by category. So you're giving the customer a lot of ways to access the website. Multiple different touch points. New arrivals is my second. 20% off, that's my big message. Now understand, you have a fraction of a second. You're opening email. You're lucky you go through your email every day. How many messages do you get? We'll get to subject line later because that's the first and most important thing. How many messages you get? You finally got somebody to open an email. Only about 10, 15, with really good subject lines and a really good program, 20 to 25% of the people open an email. So you sent out 1,000 messages, typically 15%, 150 people got to this point. From this point, you've got a fraction of a second. They're looking through all their ads, the ones that barely pique their interest. You've got to get them real fast 20 off. Real fast, that message has to be there. Big, bold, 20 off. Now, by the way, it's really 10% off. If you read it, it's buy one, get one 20 off. So it's really 10% off. But if we said 10%, and I'm not hiding, I didn't hide that down in the small print that it's buy one, get one 10% off. The 20% is big enough to stop them in their tracks. Then they're going to read, buy one, get one 20 off. Okay, new arrivals, multiple messages coming out there. This is called a qualifier, which is the coupon code. So in order to get that 20 off, I need to use the qualifier, which is the coupon code. So this is your promotional message. This is your qualifying message. And then if you have, this particular offer doesn't have a disclaimer. If you have a disclaimer, not including Nike or Reebok or whatever the promotion may not be including, that goes into the message even smaller. But you can see how the size of the text and the message, the 20 off is the biggest thing, the promotion is the biggest thing, the qualifier is a little smaller, and then the disclaimer is smaller. Very important, call to action, shop now. People know, 99% of people know that they can click anywhere on that message and it'll land to your site. Everybody, you should always make sure that the entire message is hot. That means that from an HTML standpoint that it all should click through to your site. But that shop now button, it just puts in the consumer's mind, what should I do? I should shop now. And then of course the graphics, 2/3 or roughly 60% of the image is graphics. It has to be appealing. Very, very important. With all the messages that people get every single day, even if they don't buy, you want to make sure that the message that they see from you, the graphic they see from you, is entertaining. Entertaining to some level. It doesn't have to be funny, but it just can't be a simple, quick message. It has to look kind of nice so that they remember. The better, the more entertaining, the better. So this is a very, very simple and basic email. This is a two-part email, much more complicated, much more interesting. This first half is all that shows up in the browser. So imagine getting an email message, and all that shows up in the browser is, have you heard? Scroll to get the secret. Again, a more sophisticated program will have more sophisticated messaging mixed in. It engages the user. Once the user scrolls over, they're going to see it's a secret sale. What will you save? Then there's 30, 40, 50%. By the way, a little secret of secret sales, when we do something like this, the discount is always 50%, sometimes it's 55%. So whatever your brand or margin is, if you can only afford 20%, then what will your discount be? 5, 10, 15%, and then the consumer pops in, they put the secret code in, they got 20, they're going to rush to check out before anybody finds out. They may even tell their friends about it. Their system is broken, they better hurry up. So always look to exceed your customer's expectations and put something in there that's a little bit extra for them. But the dynamic here, again, if you look at it, all the elements, the HTML pre-header up on top, the navigation, the branding, very simple aesthetic, and at the bottom are the instructions on exactly what to do, because it's a complicated one. How do I get my 50, 40, 30%? So we give them the instructions on exactly what to do to get through it. Make it very easy for your customer. They may go to the email, they may not 100% understand, so then they'll click through to the site, but before they call you, before they stop, and before they abandon the shopping cart, they'll go back to their email, and then they'll read the instructions and the details. And that's typically why those type of instructions are there. Most customers, as we all are very busy, so they all want to hurry up and get there. But they can always go back to the email for the details, and that'll save you and your customer service a lot of headaches. Put as much detail into the message as you can. Okay, now I'm going to take you through a series. This is what we ran a couple weeks ago for a client or President's Week. Again, same dynamic, 25% off site-wide. We didn't hide the fact that it's buy one, get one, 25 off, which in essence is really 12.5% off. But if I put 12.5 or I put 25 and I want to stop you in your tracks, I got twice the shot of stopping you in your tracks at 25 than I do at 12.5. Probably even more than twice, because 12.5 is a funky number. But all the elements are there again. The pre-header, the branding, the logo, the double navigation. This is shop by category. Up here is shop by brand. It's a little fuzzy. Then again, more navigation here. The shop now information. Everything is in there. So with this client, we mail about 4 times a week. So I've got this 25% off message. And on Tuesday, we send out a promotional email. On Thursday, we send out another promotional email. Looks very different. Kind of the same theme. It's within the brand. It's brand consistent. Same 25% off site-wide, pre-President's Day sale. But it's different. So the consumer, when they open this email, if they open the first one and they open the second one, they don't think, oh, I saw that already, quick delete. It's fresh to them. Maybe they didn't remember the message, maybe they didn't see the message the last time, so it's always fresh. It doesn't take much more effort to create a second ad as it does to create the first ad. So again, we're putting two offers, two creatives out there. At the bottom, links to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, etc. We put those at the bottom. We have some clients that insist on putting them at the top, but we really do encourage you to put them at the bottom. Because what do you want them to do from this message? You want them to click through to your site and buy. I don't really, I'd like them to sign up to Facebook, but I already own them. They're already a customer. They're already on my email list. So I don't want to encourage them to sign up to Facebook at the cost of losing the sale. I want to encourage them to sign up to Facebook as a secondary. So this goes out on Thursday, for argument's sake. And this is a newsletter. Content-driven, actually it's from a different week, but hypothetically would have the same exact offer in there. Buy one, get one, 25 off. Subtle message. The key here is all the content. I'm offering something to the consumer on a topic of interest for them. I'm showing a couple of my styles, not really promoting them price-wise. I'm showing recent customer ratings of my products, of my site, and the full topic. So this is a real soft sell instrument. This is an instrument where the consumer can kind of wrap themselves around the brand can envelop themselves with the consumer, but we're not hitting them over the head. So when they open this up, they're not saying, oh, another ad from these guys. They're getting a third message in the same week from the client, but this third message is a very soft sell and actually delivering value to the consumer. A lot of times, we'll add into here some of our strings from Facebook, some of, as we did here, customer ratings. So it all validates the brand and helps the sale. This is the final notice. So this goes out just to the people who opened any of the previous emails in the string. So it doesn't go out to everybody else. It's the fourth message in the same week. We use a template for this. So we'll have a girl holding a card. I may change it to a boy holding a card, or two kids holding a card, or a different girl, but we use a very, very simple template for this. So from a creative perspective, we can knock it out very, very quickly. The messaging is very simple. Final notice, free, again, I mixed up two different promotions in here, but hypothetically it would be the same promotion for all four promotions in the same week. And then all the other elements, as you see, for consistency, are the same. The header, pre-header, navigation, everything else, so the consumer knows exactly where they're getting the email from, and it's consistent. The word final notice, call to action. Believe it or not, 20% of email sales come from this message. It's just a no-brainer, simple message to send out, and we added it into our arsenal about 2 years ago, and we saw a 20% lift in sales across all clients because we sent out a final notice. Okay, before you send, you've created these emails, you've come up with the versions, these are the things you have, kind of a checklist. Come up with more than one version of the promotion, as I showed you. 25 off versus buy one, get one 50 off. So this is another element. Buy one, get one 50 off, or 25 off. I showed you, we showed you that with the 12.5 and the 25. You want to test different ways of saying the same thing and see if that works. So a big element of email marketing is that you have the ability to test and see the results of the test and see how the consumer reacts to those results. So you can test things like free shipping. Now free shipping, you think, well, there's nothing to test with free shipping. Well, if your average order on your site is $50, and you run a free shipping promotion at $75. You think, okay, great, I pushed people to buy $75 to get free shipping. Okay, Then you test it a couple weeks later at $50. And you say, wait, you know what? I got twice as many sales at a $50 minimum order than I did at 75. So I didn't push people, so everybody took advantage of free shipping, and my orders went up a certain percentage because of it. It's worth testing thresholds way below your average order for free shipping. $25, $10, $15, and finding out your average order still stays at 50, but the consumer, your overall conversion increases because the consumer thought in their mind that the threshold was lower. In other words, you've got consumers to say, you know what, 50, I'm not going to buy 50. But the next thing you know, they have the average order on your site's $50 anyway. They're coming in, they put a couple items in their cart. The next thing you know, that's 48, 52, 60. They're going to buy what they're comfortable buying. So email gives you the ability to test. You can test multiple cells and see how they look and see how they compare and how they what the results are. Very, very important to test multiple subject lines. I can't tell you, you know, that there's. I guess it's a good time now to talk a little about subject lines. If you have 10,000 people on your email list, and you send out an email, and it has a good subject line, and you get a 15% open rate, right? Pretty good. You're happy, 15% open rate. You test another subject line, and you get a 20% open rate. How much better did the second email do than the first?
33%.
Exactly. It's not 5%. It's 33% better. You got 5% more of the total to buy, but you had 15%, and then before you had 150 out of 1,000, or it was at 10,000. You had 1,500 people that opened your email out of the 10,000, and on the second one, you got 2,000 people. You got 500 more people to potentially buy you a product, just from the subject line. That's not fancy creative. That's not anything else. So the key is, if you tested two subject lines and found one that was that brought you a 20% open rate versus the 15, then you should obviously use that. You wouldn't know that without testing. Very important, though, to manage your subject line testing relative to your product. In other words, I can tell you the best subject lines in the world. Problem is, they don't always fit. Wow, oh my God, OMG, free, great subject lines. Consumer clicks on that, opens, gets to your email, doesn't like what they see, they delete the email, and don't trust you. You've lost trust. You've lost trust with the consumer. So the subject line, unless it's wow, unless it's Black Friday, unless you're you typically run 5% off, and today you're running 30% off, then use wow. If not, if today you're running 6.5% instead of 5% off, come up with something that's a little more relevant. Special offer today, something like that, it's fine. You're not going to break the trust. Testing multiple browser settings. Again, this is a little more technical. Whatever ESP, that's the email service provider that you use, they will have the ability for you to put your email into those different browser settings and see how it looks in Safari, how it looks in Outlook, how it looks in older versions of Outlook, how it looks on an iPad. That really, you don't have to go out and buy 20 different devices and have 20 different browsers. Within the email service provider, the company that's going to send your email, you'll see it. Send yourself a test, look at the test, make sure all the links work, make sure no images are broken, make sure it clicks through to the place it's supposed to click through. Really, it's really basic stuff, but it's important. Okay. This is going to be a little hard to read, but I'm going to take you through it more on a conceptual basis than I am on an actual basis. This is a test of that free President's Day promotion. So we sent out roughly 2,000 of each cell in the test. The first half all had the same subject line. So the top line, this top line here, and this top line here were the identical creative. Let's say a little boy holding a flag with two different subject lines. This was a little girl holding a flag, and this was just text, just a big banner or a flag with writing on it. I'm making up what it is, but so these two are the exact same creative with two different subject lines, so I can compare how the two subject lines did against each other. These are three different creatives with exactly the same subject line. And then I can compare what was the open rate between these three. This is 18.58, this is 16.7, this is 15.2. So they all fell within, this actually is not a great example because they didn't fall within, but typically you'll see that these generally fall within the same mean because of that, because of the same subject line. At the end of the day, out of these tests, this cell, this point number 2 got 5 orders and 3 orders, a total of 8 orders, compared to this cell, which got 6, and this cell, which got 3. That immediately tells me, don't send this email right here. By testing, if I didn't test, I would have gotten 3 orders versus 8. Huge, huge difference. Almost triple the response in the test cell. Okay? You see 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 5 is 8. Almost triple the response, obviously, and look at the dollars and cents. 347 plus 36, almost $390 for this one versus $100 for this one and $110 for this one. So look at the difference in sales between this cell, this creative, which is the same creative, and the other ones. Obviously, this is what we ended up, one of these is which we ended up rolling out. I don't remember, but that's what it delivered. So I can't stress enough the importance of testing, because if you test, you could literally double or triple sales versus not testing. It takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit of time and patience, but if you do it, you're looking at the opportunity to triple your sales with the same amount of work. Segmentation and mailing frequency. As your list starts to grow, first of all, you need to create a promotional schedule. You need to put together a schedule, what you're going to mail, what day you're going to mail. It's best to do it at least a month out. You can obviously adjust your schedule, but this way you can organize yourself within it and say, I'm going to mail on this day, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. On Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to mail my promotional email, and on Fridays, I'm going to mail my newsletter, my content newsletter, and then on Sunday, I'm going to mail my last chance email. So that's building the schedule. But more importantly, it's I'm going to run free shipping this week, and I'm going to run 20% off this week, and I'm going to run new arrivals this week, and boom, 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 boom. So you can look at it over time. Monitor open and click rates, very important. You want to make sure that your open rates over time are going up, or at least flat, that people aren't getting, it's called list fatigue, that after sending too many emails, people are just getting bored and they stopped opening your emails. They didn't unsubscribe, they just ignored you. Just as bad as unsubscribing, actually worse because you pay to send email, so you're paying now to send people to people who are ignoring me. I'd rather them leave the room and not be there than ignore me. So your average rate, your open rate should average above 10%. Your click rate should average about 15%. Again, that's 15% of your opens. So if you've got 1,000 opens, and if you've got 1,000 emails sent, and you have 100 people who actually opened it, 15 of them should click. Segment your list and market to the responders more frequently. Very, very important. Most people do not do this. I will tell you that 99% of the clients we take on, when do you mail? Twice a week. What do you mail? The same promotion. Who do you mail? Everybody. Why not? I'll tell you why not. Because if they're not responding, you're going to get list fatigue. Maybe they're bored. Maybe they're really not in the market for your product as frequently as some other people are. The people who are opening are in the market for your product a little more than the people who aren't opening. The people who are clicking are much more in the market for your product than the people who are opening and not clicking. So you want to segment your list by the openers, and then within the openers you want to segment your list by the clickers, people who've clicked, and then you want to segment your list by the people who've purchased, and then you want to throw a date onto all that. 60, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So let's hypothetically say 90-day people who've purchased within 90 days, people who've clicked but have not purchased within 90 days, people who've opened but have not clicked or purchased within 90 days. So now you've got these sets, and then you've got everybody else. And believe it or not, once you start doing that, you're going to find out that your openers are going to, the three groups I just mentioned are probably going to open at an average rate of about 25%. And if you're doing a good job of segmenting and mailing, the other group is going to open at about 2%. maybe 3% if you're lucky. So when do you mail them? About once a month. Maybe once every other week if you have an aggressive promotion. But you certainly don't want to mail them every week, and you certainly don't want to mail them 4 or 5 times a week. Who's going to get that 5 times a week? The person who's clicking and buying and clicking and buying. They have a propensity to buy. You want to keep in front of them before your competition does. The person that's opening, you're going to mail them a little bit less. And the person who's opening and clicking but not buying, you want to mail them somewhere in between. So it's a matter of segmenting your list by responders and response type. And then we went into this a lot, which is vary your email type. If you mail more than 2 times a week, you've got to vary the type. You can't send promotions out 3, 4, 5 times a week. You have to send a content newsletter. You have to send a new arrivals email, maybe with no discount in it, or a fashion tip, or a makeup tip, or whatever your cooking tip, whatever you're about. It's got to be in line with what you're doing, but without promoting, so that there's added value. Even if they don't use the value, the consumer believes that you're giving them value, and there's a reason to. This is basic industry terms, which I'll just leave in the PowerPoint so you have it. And then these are helpful links, which you, again, will have in the PowerPoint. You can click through for more detailed definition of CLTV, spam laws, and our blog. This is a promotional wheel or promotional calendar. And it just shows you, when I said when you want to create a promotional calendar, you can use this to create it off of. It shows you all the primary, secondary, and tertiary holidays. A holiday is the best excuse of any to market. If I run free shipping on February 27th, or I run free shipping on February 29th, I promise you I'm going to do 30% better on February 29th because it's once every 4 years, it's leap year, this only happens every 4 years, and we can promote the heck out of it because it's a special occasion, it's our leap year sale. If I just run it on the 27th, it's just free shipping for any other occasion. So believe it or not, the same message with some type of a hook will perform significantly better. So this calendar I find to be amazing, an immense help when formulating. Another thing that we found with clients that, let's say they run every day 30 off, every day 40 off, and then all of a sudden they run clearance, and and typically we run coupons, extra 10% off, or extra, jeans today are on sale, buy one get 150 off, or something like that. When we run clearance and we have no coupon and we just scream 70 off clearance, and it was 70 off the day before and 70 off the week before, we run a big promotion and say 70 off clearance, all of a sudden our sales shoot up. So it's getting that message out to the consumer and leveraging something like this, all the holidays. I don't know, what is, the 8th of March is National Women's Day. Again, another excuse to market. We're on to questions and answers. There's a lot of helpful tips. You're certainly welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn, on Twitter. You can follow me or go to my blog. There's a lot of helpful tips. Whenever I see an interesting article on email marketing, I post it to my blog. So I'll just open the floor for questions.
Some of these services, are they compatible with box package e-commerce solutions like Amazon Web Store or any other things like that?
Yeah. Any? The question was, are these services compatible with box-type e-commerce solutions like an Amazon Web Store, an eBay Store, Yahoo Store, etc.? Yeah, as long as you capture your email address, these are separate. These are really separate services. So you can capture with Amazon. You can. I mean, if you're selling on Amazon, not in your own Amazon store, but if you're selling through Amazon's commerce, you can't capture the email address, and they won't allow you to. But if you're selling through your own e-commerce store, even if it's on Amazon or eBay's platform and it's your own store, you can capture your email address. If you have the email address, you can use a third party to market.
Other than Amazon.
Well, no, I said no. Not if you're selling.
No, even if you have a store on Amazon, they don't give you.
If you have your own store
On Amazon?
on Amazon.
There's 2 platforms on Amazon. There's two platforms.
there's the Amazon Commerce, which they won't give you. Then there's your own store, like a Yahoo store.
Okay, they use it as a hosting, but it's really not Amazon.
No, it's not. It's the same as eBay, same as anybody else. Yeah, eBay, Yahoo.
When you talk about segmenting the list, that's you don't do it when you own that email list. If you go and you, like you said, you rent a list, you can't start segmenting it. It's more of a temporary.
It's more of a temporary. And I really warn against renting third-party lists unless you really have a full sophisticated program. 90% of the time, they don't work. And that doesn't mean they won't work for anybody. They do work for lead generation. They don't generally work for e-commerce. And there's a whole conversation that we're going to have about it. But yes.
My question's a little broader. How much time do you suggest like delegating towards like testing out and then on a basis putting out what sort of emails are going to go out? I mean, I guess you can sort of map out what the major marketing throughout the year, but then the micro needs to sort of pop up. How much time do you delegate for a new business to testing out their demographics specifically?
So the question was, how much time should a company allocate to testing? It should become part of a process, and it shouldn't become too cumbersome. So really, what I believe, the way we run it, I like to run tests 2 or 3 days in advance, to give it a little bit of time to get results for a marketing campaign.
And that you do on an annual basis?
Every day, every single campaign gets tested.
Right, no, but I mean like, as far as schedule goes, they can set up on an annual basis and major campaigns and then like more users for the campaign.
Oh, okay, so in an ideal situation, we'll set up on a monthly basis a hard calendar, not on an annual basis. On about 4 to 6 weeks in advance, we'll set up a hard calendar. We'll create we'll do email creative about 10 to 12 days in advance. Go back and forth to fine tune the creative. It takes a day or two. We'll load the creative in, and then we'll test it. The good part about building and loading the creative, all the work of building and loading the creative only has to be done once. Once it's done and in the system and tested, you can just take that creative and mail it out immediately. It doesn't have to be rebuilt again.
Let's say you're starting out and you have a very small mailing list, so all of this work is not going to give you much results. That's the first question. The second question I wanted to ask was, if, let's say you want to do some sort of promotional giveaway, whether to get people on Facebook or to sign up on your little box. How would you do something like that, in a very honest, ethical way, where somebody doesn't say, hey, listen, the fix was in, because you can give away a free iPad to your friend.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you do that part also?
Well, one of the things, I'll go back to it. One of the things that we had on that page where it said get $100 is we had last week's winner. So a lot of times when we run contests, we'll make sure to put the names of the winners. And the beauty about Facebook is that you can validate the contest. So in order where I say validate, by people saying I won and talking about it, it lets other people feel comfortable. So you put on your Facebook page. Now let's say you want to give away $1,000. You only want to give $1,000 once a year, right? Now you can't give away $1,000 and have a winner and then it gets lost. So my recommendation would be run a couple of small contests, create a level of trust amongst the users. Okay, you can give away $25 every 3 weeks. You give away $25, and then the people are talking a little about the $25 that they won. And now you want to run $1,000 for a much. You're asking for more from the users. Give us 10 friends' names, and you'll be in the pool. Now, when they go to see what's this company all about, wow, there's 4 or 5 winners who all said this is legit. I got my $25 gift card.
Thank you very much.
Diane?
I'm missing something when you're talking about testing. Let's say you want to have a big President's Day sale, so that you set up your emails, you want to test your subject lines. Who are you testing to? So that you're not repeating your test to your.
So we'll typically test to a small segment of the database. So if we're working with a database, a mid-sized client for us has 150 to 200,000 names. So we'll take out 2,000 or 1,500 names per segment, that's 6,000. If a client has 10,000 or 15,000 names, we'll take out 750 per segment and test, and then we'll suppress those people from the rollout. Take 750 times 4, that's 3,000. That's 3,000 names. So that at 15,000, the other 12,000 will get the rollout.
In your contact information, is that an L at the end of your URL, like Allan Levy? Is that an L, or is that just a?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
That's Twitter. I think it's 1.
Oh, that's a 1.
And yeah, I'm not sure if I hate to say it.
I just tried finding you on Twitter and I couldn't. So.
Try it with a 1.
It's a 1 now.
Yeah,
It's a 1. Thank you. Last question. Right there. Sorry.
What time of the day or night is better to send out an email blast?
Great question.
That's
I don't know. I don't know. Why is it a great question? Because every company is different, every list is different, every response is different. For a high consideration, every day is different. So for a high consideration, an item that takes high consideration, we like to send early in the weekend so that people can go out if they're buying a new television or something. They can go to Best Buy, compare price, and then come back on Sunday and make the purchase. For an impulse buy, cosmetics or something like that, we like to send right when they get back from lunch, at 2 o'clock, well, sometimes at 9 in the morning. I do not, because, and anybody who subscribes to multiple email lists will know that you get plenty of email when you wake up in the morning. All of a sudden your inbox is full with 700 emails. Well, I don't want to be number 701. I'll send it 9, I'll send it 10, I'll send it 11, get into the office and clean it up. But the real key is, it goes back to what I said, tests. I mean, if there's something, if you talk about retail, or you talk about real estate, it's location, location, location. This is test, test, test. So I can't implore upon you enough that you could test. And go back to what I said, the difference between 15% and 20% is 33% more sales just from testing. Thank you.
Thank you.